Welcome back to another preview. Today we're going to be discussing Ducks in Tow. This is Stephanie Kwok's second game, and from artist Andrew Bosley, who has done a number of different games, namely Everdell, which everyone knows.
So this is from First Fish Games. This is a 2 to 4 player game, family weight. It's going to have some area movement, set collection, and a few other fun elements we'll get into as we go through the game.
Yeah, so this is mostly a pick up and deliver game in which you are in a duck sanctuary, and what you're doing is you're walking around feeding the ducks, and they're going to follow you around in tow. And what you're trying to do is get them to their correct location. Now, as we say with any of these previews, this is a prototype that you see in front of you. Make sure you guys go to the Kickstarter page to see the final components. However, we have a 4-player game set up, and the board is going to be completely modular depending upon the number of players that you have. It's also going to change the possible locations. There are 8 different locations in the game, and each of them are represented by a unique tile on the board. So if you play with 4 players, you're playing with all 8 of the cards that represent those tiles. If you play with less, you're playing with fewer of those locations, so you may only be playing with 4 of the colors instead of all 8 of them. Also, there are some special tiles here that's going to rotate depending upon the number of players. However, to start, each of the players is going to get a starting location. This is going to be set out in front of them. These are going to splay out through the course of the game by adding new locations to the left or to the right of these. You're going to be collecting these, and these are basically the ducks that you're trying to move around in tow.
And of course, you want to take pictures of those ducks when you get them to their favorite locations, and then they'll disperse back out into the park. We're also going to start with a certain number of ducks depending on players in the little ducky bag that comes with the game, which is adorable. In this particular game, we're playing with all of the ducks because we have 4 players.
Yeah, there are 4 different types of ducks that you will always play with no matter how many players are playing. Just few of those are going to be used. Those ducks come in 4 different colors, and there's also 4 different types of feed that are correlated to them. For instance, a white duck needs white food, and so forth. So you're going to modularly set up this board as you see here and randomly put ducks on each of these different locations. Each of the players is going to randomly put their starting player onto one of these locations that has dirt. Now this is really cool. These are the actual player tokens. You're going to notice it has a built-in meeple that's actually attached to this acrylic base, and then an area for 4 ducks to actually fit in tow. So when you move, you're going to be moving your guy and then all of the 4 different ducks that could possibly be attached to that particular person.
Yeah, the theme of this game is super fun, and you're going to have duckies following you all around the park. One of the other items that's going to change based on player count are these special cards that are formation cards. These are going to lay on top of your location cards based on if you've met the pattern. These are first come, first serve. You're going to put 1 out per player plus 2 each game.
Yeah, each of these formation cards is acrylic, so you're actually going to be able to see over them. And we'll show some pictures here, but you're going to be actually overlaying these on top of your cards depending upon the formations that you're able to create with the ducks that you are able to send to very specific locations. As you can see, this may appear to be a very simple game, but there's some complexity in here for some of the more heavy gamers in your party. So, all right, so we've already set up the board. Each of the players is going to get 4 random locations dealt to them. These locations are possible guidelines to where they want to send your particular ducks. Now, each of these cards is broken into a number of different things. Number 1 at the top is going to show you the location that this particular set of ducks needs to go to. For instance, this says the flower beds, and you're going to notice that it's yellow, matching one of the tiles there. Plus, it's going to tell you which 4 of the possible ducks need to go to that location. This one needs just a singular orange duck, whereas here, the bridge wants a white, a orange, and then a brown. So you're going to be having 4 of these cards in your hand and rotating these through the course of the game with the cards that you draw from the deck and the ones that are splayed here. Again, the object is to collect those ducks in tow behind you and then to go to those locations and deliver them so that you can splay them out on your card. So the game is very simple to play. On your turn, you're allowed to do 4 different actions, and these actions have a wide range of different abilities. The most simple of those is just to simply move from one location to an orthogonal location. So I could go from here to any of the locations that surround them. That takes up one of my actions.
The next action you're going to have is you're going to be able to feed the ducks. Now, you have to have the particular color, as Jeremy mentioned earlier, in order to feed that color of duck when you pick it up from the location that you're in. Now, if you're not getting the duck of your color out on the board that you're looking for, you can always do the next action, which is shake the bag and pull one from it. And if it is the color of, you have the color of food that you need, you get to keep that duck, put it in tow. Otherwise, you'll disperse it at the end of your turn.
Yeah, anytime you draw one that does not match the color, you just simply lay it out in front of you to be dispersed at the end of your turn. That's going to happen in a couple different ways. After you possibly could shake the bag, the other thing that you could do is you could drop off the ducks that you have in tow. That's where it's very important to have the right card, be in the right location, and have the right ducks that are aligned behind you. Again, coming back to your cards, if I look at this flower card here, I need to go to the flower bed. I need to have one white duck in tow and one brown duck in tow. Then I simply place those out in front of me to be dispersed at the end of the turn. Then I have to add this card to my existing set of cards. Now, when you add them, you're simply going to add them to the left or to possibly the right of your card. Each additional card that you add in the future has to be to the left or the right, but it can never be added in between two cards. The idea here is that you want to get formations of colored areas. For instance, I have a line right here that's diagonal. If there's a formation card that matches that, I can lay it on there as such. And these are first come, first serve. These doesn't require an action, you simply get it. And each of these has a number of victory points attached to them. These are a race, and as you race to get them, no one else can claim them. However, the ducks that you use to make that formation can't be used to make further formations within the game. Once you're done taking those actions, all the ducks that you have in front of you will be dispersed back onto the board into locations that don't have ducks. But there's two other special tiles that you can interact with as well to take actions at.
Absolutely. So one of those two locations is the gift shop. In the gift shop, you're going to either be able to draw a new location, two new location cards to add to your hand. You'll of course discard those back down to 4 in your hand, or you can draw two particular feed of your choice. So if you know you're needing white or brown, you can then take this action to get that into your hand. Again, discarding back down to 4 seed.
The other location that you can go to are these locations that have the hearts on them. When you interact with those, you get to do an adopt action. This action is really, really cool. So if you have two ducks in tow behind you, you take both of them off and you place them both face up in front of you. One of these ducks you can adopt. The other one will be dispersed at the end of the round. The one that you adopt is allowed to go on one of your location cards that you've already played into possibly one of the duck locations that is empty. For instance, this only has an orange, but if I already played this, I can place it here, and now I have an orange and a yellow. Why do you want to do this? Well, again, there's two main reasons. One, because you want to build those formation cards to be able to get points. However, at the end of the game, you're going to get points for each of these rows of all 4 colors for the longest contiguous set of ducks that you have. So if I have 4 white ducks at the end of the game, I get 4 points. If I have 2, an empty space, and 1, I'm only getting 2 points. So you want to build those rows out for each of those different ways, and adopting a duck is a really good way to do that. At the end of the round, as we said, you're going to disperse those ducks back into empty locations that you use, and you're going to go to the next person. And you're going to continue doing this round after round, but you also have an opportunity at the end of your turn to get some more feed.
Right, so you will be able to discard any of the feed that you don't want and draw back up to 4 at the end of your turn. If you place a location card, you'll also draw back up to 4 of those at the end of your turn, and then you'll move on to the next player. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is, like Jeremy said, get all these formation cards out of the game. When these are all gone, that's going to be one of the in-game triggers. Or in a 4-player game, we need 6 location cards out in front of us, including our starting location. Once that happens, either one of those, it's going to take that's going to be that person's last turn, and then everyone will get one more turn after that, and the game will end.
And that in-game condition could change depending upon the number of players that you have. If you have fewer players, you're going to need more cards to end the game in front of one of those particular players. So that is Ducks in Tow. This is actually a more complex game than what it may look. It's very simple to play, but the complexity comes in trying to navigate, trying to move to the right locations, all in the right required number of turns. Plus, beat people out to these formations. As you build out these cards, you're very strategically placing these in the right locations and basically drafting the right cards at the right time so that you have the right economy going on through the game.
Absolutely. This is a wonderful little game, and it's going to be, again, much prettier in person on the Kickstarter, we're sure, in the final components with Andrew's art and all the final production pieces, so please be sure to check it out. Thanks again for watching and following us on everything that we do. We'll see you next time.